Thank you for joining me today on Becca's World. I'm your host, Blind Becca. Right now, we're under this crazy quarantine, and so our schedule's been a little off with filming, but this weekend, I was inspired to start a project that I was working on just before this quarantine hit, because it occurred to me that all of my friends who were going to be helping me with it, most of them were probably just sitting around at home bored too. So I contacted them and everybody was on board with starting this project now. And so what we've done is we've launched our new show here at Becca's World, and we're calling it The Blind View. It's me and a couple of my other girlfriends, all of us are visually impaired, talking about how we see life as blind women and the different things we deal with and stuff like that. Now we'll discuss regular everyday topics as well, because of course they influence and affect our lives also, but this is just, we're talking about our lives and we got a lot to talk about right now with everything that's going on. So we're gonna get started. Kayla and Megan are joining me today. Thank you, ladies. How are you?
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Becca.
Hey, ladies. How are you?
I'm doing good today.
I'm doing good.
The whole quarantine thing is crazy, though.
Oh, yeah. Kayla, what have you been experiencing?
Well, I started this year out not expecting to be a third grade and a sixth grade teacher, for one. So, yeah, so we've experienced that.
So you suddenly become a teacher, like many parents across America right now are experiencing that. And
yeah.
So I'm assuming you've had to build a lot of structure into your home as a result. Has that been challenging?
It has been a little challenging, but not as challenging as I was expecting. Mm-hmm. Our quarantine started, well, my kids were on spring break the week before the quarantine started. Mm-hmm. So my kids have been out of school since March 5th. So it's been a long time. So the first week was we had spring break off, and then they were supposed to go back to school on the 17th. And that obviously didn't happen. And the school didn't really have anything in place for this. So I was kind of winging it at first. So
did the school eventually come through with plans online? I know some schools have.
Yeah, so they have what they call enrichment, where it's not mandatory, they're not graded on it, but they're still reviewing and getting educated. Oh, so I'm not exactly sure how that's going to end up playing out once the school year is over, and how it counts towards their credits for school and all that, their grades and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, this is a confusing time for everybody.
Yeah.
How has this quarantine and stuff affected you? Did we lose Meg?
I'm here. Hi. I was just listening to what Kayla was saying. I know she turned into a teacher in a week.
I know, it's incredible. A lot of parents, like I said, a lot of parents across the country have suddenly become teachers for their children, and it's really amazing. We haven't done that in America since we came across the prairies. You know what I mean?
That's true. I was kind of thinking about that too. Like, it's kind of like back in the day, like, when they probably couldn't go to school during that Spanish flu, and they had to work like on the farms and, help their parents out and stuff. So it's really interesting how like the similarities are.
Mm-hmm. And then too, when they were first settling our country, though, like the parents had been somewhat educated in their countries where they had come from, but then they landed here and they were starting to have their own children. So as they were coming across the prairie, they had to establish schools or teach their children in their homes,
Yeah.
I was talking to my grandma a couple days ago, and she said that when polio went across America, and she was like 8 years old, and they lived on a farm. So her and her brother, who were 10, had to basically take care of the farm because their dad got polio. So it was pretty interesting to talk to her about that. experience.
My sister and I called our grandma a few weeks ago, and she told us about living through the polio epidemic also.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Conversation.
I heard about that too, and I heard that they really I mean, I know it's a really bad disease, but that's kind of like where people started taking advantage of fundraising and different things, and they literally, put people on commercials, or not commercials, but the radio or whatever they had back then, and scare people into giving donations. So I wasn't quite sure what the deal was with all of that, but I thought that was pretty interesting too.
That is really interesting.
One thing that I can see going on all over our nation is I see normal everyday citizens stepping forward and doing all they can to help their communities, small business owners or just everyday people. If they can contribute, they are. And I'm amazed to see all of it.
I am really amazed. Car manufacturers are making ventilators, and clothing manufacturers are making the
masks,
things, the masks and the gowns, and
gloves.
It's really, yeah. And the alcohol breweries and stuff like that are making hand sanitizer. I saw in the news that they were delivering hand sanitizer to the hospitals in kegs. I
saw that too. Yep. I'm sorry, Becky. Go ahead.
I remember when I was a child in school learning about our American history, and I remember learning about the Roaring 20s when the people pulled together to build stuff for the war effort, right? And I remember how it turned out to be a real booming thing for our economy and our world, and the American spirit also. And I know one thing I see right now is the American spirit is really coming forward through all of this. And I think our economy and our world, the whole world will only follow, you know what I mean? Because we're all showing our strength through our American spirit and our unity.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to come together as one, because this has touched one side of the earth to the other and all around, that we're all going to have to work as a team to get it under control, not for just us Americans, but for the world in general.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to end up bringing good connection, that basically, hey, we are all humans. We all have our differences, but in the end, we are all human, and come together and work together. So I'm kind of excited for that to happen. It can happen sooner than later.
For sure.
How is your business holding up through all of this?
So we, closed the cafe because, we wanted, we didn't have a lot of customers, and we just kind of wanted to be on the safe side.
Is it a temporary or a permanent thing though?
No, it's just temporary until we get everything back up and running again. And then the vending is a little bit slow too right now, just because people aren't working in the buildings and different things like that. But yeah, we're surviving. I'm hoping that it ends sooner than later. I feel like in watching the news, I feel like the curves are kind of flattening. So, as long as that keeps going the way it is, I feel like everything will, work out. And I'm actually excited because it's like a start over, I figure, it's kind of like starting over again, but you kind of know what you're doing this time around.
Yeah, so I like that attitude, Megan. That's
yeah. So get ready for my big grand opening, guys.
Awesome. Maybe we can do a special Becca Goes to Meg's grand opening, not for Becca's World.
Oh, that would be so cool. But do you guys always look for excuses to buy Costco cakes? Dude,
I have not shopped at Costco in so many years. That place was dangerous for me, buying stuff in bulk.
Well, yeah, you don't have a lot of people that live with you. I don't buy a lot from there either, but their cakes are amazing.
I buy half of my groceries from Costco.
They have angel food cakes? Because I love angel food cake.
They might. Their white cake is really good, though, because they layer it. So there's a thing of frosting in the middle.
Oh,
Amazing. Yeah.
wow.
And they have chocolate and mousse cakes too, I think.
Mhm. So did you guys hear about what they've been discovering about where this virus originated from?
I honestly have heard so many different stories, so I'm not sure which one is the right one, to be
Right.
honest.
That's how I feel too. I've heard some cool, or not cool things, but interesting things that make sense though.
For instance?
Well, for instance, in the town of Wuhan, I think that's how it's pronounced in China, they were having a live like butchery show. And so, something that they would do like in the market area, and they were killing this, not sure what kind of an animal it was, but the animal was sick, and that's when it like mutated because it got into the air and it was in the animal's blood and the blood sprayed. So and people got sick from that. And that was in November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things that I've heard. I don't know what you guys have heard.
Kayla, have you heard anything?
I heard something about it coming from bats, but I didn't.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, there's that. I don't know. I don't think they know exactly where it came from. And I don't know if they ever will. Exactly.
Well,
but I did hear. Oh, go ahead.
What I heard was that there's strong evidence that a virus such as the SARS virus was combined with another virus and some other genomes and stuff to create this super virus that is not only deadlier than many, but highly contagious. They specifically, it had to have been specifically engineered to jump from human to human. To have it happen on accident in nature would be astronomical, they said. And the fact that it broke out right by the Wuhan laboratory where they were known to be doing shit like that just lends to the suspicion that that's actually what happened, that they intentionally created this virus. And it may have accidentally been released upon the world, or it may have intentionally been released upon the world. But the fact that they did so much to cover it up and they were so deceitful, it's just so scary. And that's what I heard.
That's really interesting. I do remember hearing something about it in a lab, but there wasn't much information about it, that it could have been like scientists or
well, right now my understanding is a lot of the world is starting to look at China with suspicion because of what's happened. And so that's where I'm at with it right now. I'm still waiting to see what they ultimately come up with, but it looks really scary if you look at it.
Yeah, it's very scary what's going on.
Like biological warfare,
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, it's from, like I said, it's everywhere though. Mm-hmm. And that's what is more scary about it, is it's so uncontained. And then I read that it can be transmitted up to 13 feet. And we're doing social distancing of 6 feet.
Mm-hmm. Which is
so.
If China would have told everybody a lot sooner, been a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I've read a lot about China, and it just, a lot of it's kind of scary. So about like them well, I don't know if they are now, but at one point they weren't recording the actual death numbers. They wanted them to try to be lower and stuff like that. But we need to know for the rest of the world. It seems like every country has should be reporting correctly and working together. So hopefully that's what we get to. And I feel like we are. I feel like our country, like not just our country, but other countries are helping each other out. And the more we know, the better. And we're getting to that point. I'm just worried, like, is this going to come back like the flu does?
I don't know. I really hope we can get it under control.
Yeah.
Me too.
Are you two pretty scared of going out and catching it? Are you guys concerned about your own susceptibility to it?
So, oh, go ahead, Kayla.
So I'm not that worried about getting super sick and dying from it, but I still don't want to get it. I feel like I'm healthy. I don't have very many underlying previous medical conditions such as diabetes or elevated blood pressure or anything like that. So I feel like my chances of recovery are high, but I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
So when we go out, we wear gloves, and we typically will have masks and everything. So
That's like wisdom.
yeah. So I saw a thing where the clerks and stuff at the grocery stores and other stores that are open want their customers to wear masks and gloves and everything, because we may be covering ourselves, or it's our decision not to wear a mask for us, but that's not really fair for me to make that decision for someone else who may have a weakened immune system or something by me not wearing a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're really uncomfortable and hot, and they're not fun. So
I just threw together a couple of sandwich bags with 4 or 5 masks in each one, and I gave one to each of my roommates to stick in the glove boxes of their cars, so that if we're out and about and something happens and we need masks, we've got them. Because of course I've got one box here at the house, but we don't want to be stuck without them if we need them while we're out.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of feel the same way Kayla does, like, as far as, I mean, because I still have to go out and do vending, like essential businesses or business with that. And I feel like, we're really helping people. And if I can do that, if we can do that, then, even just if it's giving them water or, something simple, I'm okay to do it. And we do wear gloves out. We have hand sanitizer. And so that's usually the only time really that I'm out. And I have a dad who's really susceptible right now. So I don't really want to be around a lot of people right now either, because like if he got it, it wouldn't be good at all. So.
That's smart.
So yeah. What have you guys, just curious, out of curiosity, because I feel like I'm in a war when it comes to food, like getting groceries from the store right now. And me not being able to drive and everything, so I'm ordering it off of Instacart, and that's kind of why I feel like I'm in a war, because either the people are being really lazy and not like getting like at least close to what I need or trying to communicate, or they're just like not getting it at all. And so it's really hard, like I almost feel like somebody back like as a pioneer, because like, oh, think of the days when I could make lasagna and I could get everything I needed all at once. And so that's kind of weird for me. Don't like it.
I understand what you're going through. I have several blind friends, and I've actually called them a few times to see if there's anything they're having trouble finding, because I know my sister is the one going to the store most of the time for our household, and so she always fills me in on how much trouble she's having finding stuff. And she's like totally sighted. So then I think about my blind friends, because I know how challenging it is when you have to rely on somebody else to go grab things for you, especially right now during the quarantine, because we're not supposed to be going out so much,
Right.
So my husband got he got sent home from work because someone in his building tested positive for the coronavirus. So we automatically got thrown into quarantine for 2 weeks where none of us could leave the house. So my mom was bringing us stuff. She would go to the grocery store, and she's actually doing this for my grandma too. Well, she would go to the grocery store and she'd get what she could. I finally got to the point where she'd be like, what do you want? I'm like, why don't you just tell me what they have? This would be much easier, and I'll tell you if I want it or not. But she would just leave it outside the door, and after she left, we would go out and get it, so that we didn't want her, if we were carriers, or we didn't want to give it to her because she's still trying to work and everything too. So that was a pretty interesting thing, because I was expecting to go grocery shopping and stock up the next day, and all of a sudden we're like, we aren't allowed to leave our house, basically.
Yeah. It was definitely kind of, I mean, and I think that part of the reason why, you know, people were so slow to act on it is because it just sounds so crazy. Like, we, as Americans, I think sometimes we get like, oh, we're so great and everything. And, but I mean, look at this, like, we ran out of food like the first week, and, so I don't know if people were totally prepared, and I know I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm glad we're all doing okay right now, though. So do you guys, do either of you have a guide dog? Neither of you do you?
No.
I have an emotional support dog. No.
How is your emotional support dog handling this, Meg?
No, I'm just kidding, Becca. She's a poodle, and she really does like emotionally support me. I love her, but I don't like take her out and pretend, that she's something that she's not. But she's doing okay. Like, she actually is kind of loving this because, I spend so much time with her now. Like, she doesn't have to be alone. And she's like, all right, mom's a lot more.
I think you're Pippi's emotional support person.
I think so too. We support each other.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking was going on, because here at my house, I've got 3 dogs here, my 2 big dogs, and then my sister's little Yorkshire Terrier. And now all of it, like, my boyfriend was always gone before, working full time, and my sister was gone a lot too before. And I was always working here at the house, or I was gone doing stuff too. But now we're all home all the time. And so the dogs, I'm sure it's become weird for them, because all of a sudden we're home all the time.
Yeah.
My princess has become so much more outgoing now, and my boyfriend's really made friends with my dogs because he's been feeding them meat from the grill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so like, especially my princess, who was terrified of people before, she even loves Dee, man.
Yeah.
So, what was the hardest thing for you guys to find in the grocery store that you wanted? I was just curious.
Meat.
I really don't want much of anything, I just water, basically. And so, but my sister, she's usually the one that goes grocery shopping. She's talked about having problems finding toilet paper and all kinds of stuff, but it's been mostly toilet paper, and it's been crazy. All the people. Oh, that reminds me, I wanted to show you guys my toilet paper. So I ordered toilet paper from Amazon, right? And I ordered 30 rolls, and it finally came this morning while I was washing my face and getting ready to put my makeup on to appear on this show, in fact. And this is one of the rolls, and it's tiny. I wanted to show it to our viewers. This is the toilet paper I got from Prime, 30 rolls for like $17.88.
Yeah. That is what Kayla and I got from Vistar. My delivery person or my delivery company. They have toilet paper, and we thought we were gonna get some good deal, and they gave us this thin crap.
Yeah, I haven't opened this up yet, but they're like tiny little rolls. They look like, I don't know, like Cabbage Patch rolls, maybe.
Well, it's going to be really thin, too, just a warning.
I bet. Well, I was panicking because the stores didn't have toilet paper.
The moment I knew there was a crisis is when I walked up to Costco I guess in March, and you walk up, and I was going to get toilet paper and a couple other things. And as you're walking up, they're like, we're out of toilet paper. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do we do? So that's when I found out there was actually a crisis.
Do you want to know when I realized there was a crisis? The day I realized the bankers were in hiding. That was the day I almost lost it. I was like, oh my God, this is bad if the Wells Fargo bankers are in hiding.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. And I thought, wow, people are really going to go nuts when they realize the bankers are in hiding. And I finally was able to get through to a banker on the phone, but I actually got a hold of a man who works for Wells Fargo who lives in Montana that used to work for me. This guy and I used to sit down face to face and work together. So I called him up and got his message at his work, and I left him a message. I said, Michael, this is Becca's, and I said, this is Becca. And I said, I know we haven't worked together in a while, but I'm desperately trying to get access to my money, and I blah, 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 blah. So he called me back, right? And he wasn't able to help me get in my accounts, but he's able to give me some valid information about how to get a hold of people. And it worked out really great. But I just wanted to say that I had a Wells Fargo person come through for me like that, and it really worked out well.
That's cool. Yeah, I have to make an appointment every time I go to the bank now, which is a real pain because it's hard just to go to the bank anyway. Well, I mean, I guess there's good things and bad things about it because at least I know, okay, we're going to set this time so I can go to the bank. And but the problem is sometimes they don't like keep the appointment. So, but I've only had that happen a few times.
How far in advance do you have to make the appointment to go to the bank?
Like a day or two.
Okay.
What bank do you bank with?
I do desert schools for my business.
Oh, because I bank with Wells Fargo, and I didn't know we could do that. I might have to switch banks.
Yeah, you can do it. They'll set up an appointment, and you can just go in.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I love desert schools, but I don't know. I mean, personally, like I like it as a business from a business aspect because it was so surprising when I was trying to start my vending business with all the coin and stuff. A couple of banks were like, no, we won't do it because they didn't want to count the money and have it go through their machines and then, have to maintain their machines. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. So I ended up, and I had like 2 banks tell me that. And then I had one bank tell me, well, you should take it to the casino and they can change it there. I'm like, no, I don't think so. But so I ended up with desert schools because they actually need the money because they invest it and then you get a pretty good interest rate. And I really like.
Well, yeah, I used to bank with a credit union in Montana for several years. And the only reason I went back to a bank was because my situation changed. And I was living between Montana and Arizona quite a bit and also doing a lot of traveling. And I like the fact that Wells Fargo was everywhere. But now that I'm pretty much only here, maybe I'll go back to a credit. Whoa, Meg. Oh, no, Meg, are you okay? So is Meg falling or is her iPad falling or both?
I think it's just her iPad.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, don't worry about it, Meg.
Is that better?
You're entertaining the audience.
Great.
Okay.
So what were we talking about? I'm good.
Guys, let's talk about how this has affected the blind community. Are you like I've been talking to some of my blind friends and they're getting lonely and bored, stuck at home. And I understand what they're going through, Talk to anybody?
So me personally, I've been doing a lot of stuff on Zoom, to be honest. I've had a couple coffee dates with some friends and we just get on Zoom and have our coffee and chat like we are now. I've taken actually a couple origami classes on Zoom, so I've learned how to do that. Not very well, but it's a work in progress.
That's so cool.
So, and then I've noticed that the NFB actually has a lot of different Zoom activities. And I haven't been for very many of them, but I went to the mindfulness one. It was like mindfulness for, and it just happened to be on a blind, platform essentially. But I found it very interesting, and I see them. They just the times kind of conflict with other things I have going on, but there is a lot out there to do, even just from the NFB. So I'm hoping that a lot of people will get into those, because those sound really interesting, and it's face to face. You talk to people, you typically learn something. And I've seen that they also were doing just some chats that have no topic. They're just quarantine get-togethers so that people can interact with other people, at least virtually.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yes, and I know part of the NFB, what they're doing right now is in some of the chapters they're calling people and just kind of checking in, making sure that everybody's okay, and which is good, because I know there's a lot of people who weren't working before anyway, so now that you can't even go out at all, like, to do anything, I mean, it's just, it's insane.
Speaking of the NFB, I participated in a call Monday night that was organized by our local NFB affiliate, and it's an every Monday night call at 6 p.m. And the phone number, if anybody would like to call in for information or to give input or ideas, is 712-770-4856, and the access code is 614039. And like I said, it's every Monday evening at 6 p.m. And I asked Brad, the guy who invited me to come on, I asked him straight out on the call Monday night, I said, is it okay for me to offer this phone number to anybody who would like to call in, no matter where they live, if they're blind? And he said, absolutely. So you don't have to be in Arizona. Anywhere you are in the United States or even in the world, if you just need someone to talk to, be someone who understands what you're going through right now as a blind person and living through this scary time, call in, okay?
And I believe they start their meeting at 6. It's like from 6 to 7, Becca?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I wasn't sure, because I was thinking about calling in on that too, but yeah, I mean, I should do that.
Have you guys heard of any other or done any other kind of activities that were outside of the blind community on the connection? Have you guys been talking to your family? I know me and Meg were talking the other day, and she said that she did a family reunion.
We did.
Virtual reunion, and that sounded really cool.
Oh, wow.
That was so cool. So I have family in Nebraska and Minnesota, and it's like every 3 years we do a reunion in one of those states, like a summer family reunion. So because all this came up, we thought that it would be good to do this. So every Saturday from 10 to whenever, we just get on and say hey and see how everybody's doing, and so it works out really good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you can put your family with.
I recently heard that there was a Zoom training webinar or something. I need to go study that, because I want to learn how to use Zoom by myself, and I don't know how. So
it's so simple, Becca. Like, once you get it, you'll just figure it.
I'm sure it is, but for some reason, I'm not able to see the buttons and stuff. Like, my sister's having to touch them on the screen and stuff.
I just do with my voiceover, because I can't look when I'm talking to you right now, and I had to do some maneuvering when my thing fell. It's like everything's accessible. I don't know how Kayla's doing it or anything, but.
Well, see, that's the problem. I'm using it on my laptop, which has JAWS, and the training I saw was for using Zoom with JAWS. And because I'm not. Brandon has the Apple computer that I bought for Blue Butterfly Enterprises, and I gave it to him because I've never been trained on a Mac. I
Yeah.
use Windows, so.
Yeah, I'm just using an iPad also, and it's completely accessible for as well. So, because I think that's what you're using as well, Megan, correct? Is an iPad. So we just need to
Yes.
get you an iPad, and we'll get this going
Right.
perfect.
Well,
I know.
that's one thing I need to talk to Brandon about. I need to get a new iPad and a new iPhone, but I need to bill them to the company because I need them specifically for work. So
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, that makes sense. So, I don't know like how we all are politically here, but what do we think about like what what Trump is doing or how he's handled it or how the media is like dealing with that and what you guys think about all that? Yeah.
So, I honestly believe that we probably could have started the whole process a little sooner than we actually did as a nation, and we probably would have had less spread. But we can't change what has already been done. So I think we just, like I said before, we just kind of need to come together as a nation and work together and not. I feel like there's a lot of blame going on all around the world that we focus too much on that we need to find the good. We need to show more of what people are doing to come together, to encourage people like, hey, we can come together, rather than focusing on all the negative, who did what, who said what, where, because we can't change that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And I think I've learned more about the president, probably now more than ever. And I mean, you can see, like, just as anybody, like, we're all people. He's a person too. Like, he probably cries sometimes. He probably goes home at night and, like, can't sleep sometimes or whatever. I'm hoping that, sometimes I know when you get, like, picked on or whatever and you feel like you want to fight back, but we don't need someone to fight back. We need someone that is going to lead us and make us feel better. And sometimes I feel like he gets upset with other things, and then the media and him get into these fights. And when people like are fighting just really in front of you, you get uncomfortable. So you're just watching this, going, "Oh man, like I can't believe you just said that to that lady," or "Oh man, I can't believe
that lady just said that." Yeah,
like it's just like, oh man, like if I want to watch that, I'll watch the Housewives of New York or whatever.
So
I don't
know. Do you guys want to hear what I think about it?
I do. That's why I quit talking, because I'm a talker. So.
Okay. I love both your guys' stances on it. I find them both fascinating. I have to tell you guys, I was thrilled when President Trump won the election because I did not feel that Hillary Clinton had our best intentions in mind. And then when this virus hit, I was thanking God that President Trump had won, because I thought, if Hillary Clinton was in the White House when this virus hit, would she have had the ability to make the kind of snap decisions that have been required of him through all of this? And as far as the decision of when the brakes were put on for all of this virus, President Trump put a stop to travel here from people, put a stop to people traveling here from China way earlier than the Democrats or the media wanted him to. They were all calling him racist for putting the stop to that travel, and that's the only thing that slowed the virus down as much as it did. If he had done what the Democrats wanted, if he had not put that travel ban in place, this would have been a much worse situation. That's what I feel. I feel like God put President Trump in the White House for such a time as this, to try to save as many American lives and as many people in the world as possible. And that's how I feel about it.
Here's my question. So, I have an employee who is not my employee right now, obviously, and she goes back and forth from Mexico, but she's an American citizen. And like I'm hearing, because I kept telling her from the very beginning, I'm like, I wouldn't go over there right now because you might not be able to get back. And she's like, oh, I'll be fine. And so, she's going over there, coming back, doing whatever, American citizen, going over to Mexico, who has, a Mexican family over there. Why are they able to do that so freely? Like when we're trying to get this disease taken care of so that we can get back to work and get our economy going again. Like, I feel like in a way,
not be going on.
Yeah, I feel like in a way, like, they're doing everything they can, but then, and I understand you can't control everything or everybody, and people are going to do what they want to do. But, as far as like he needs to be looking at everything, and maybe have you guys heard about Mexico on the news at all?
No.
Because, and the reason I'm asking is because that's one of the things, that you were talking about earlier, Kayla, countries putting, giving us the data and the results. Some countries don't want to even admit that they have it. And our borders are, not, you could go over to Mexico, you could go on you could drive to the border and get into Mexico right now. And, obviously we know we're good, but, people that don't care, don't know that they're sick, they're just, it's a problem. It's just another problem. So
yeah, I read that 80% of the cases of the diagnoses, they don't know how they got it, like who they got it from, because people who have it do not have symptoms and they're carriers, but they're not having the effects of the virus. They're not feeling the effects of the virus. So that's a big thing, is I feel like we need to, and I'm not sure how to do this, we need to do better quarantining and better tracing on who these people have been in contact with. And I feel like that is this is on an individual level, where if you've been in contact with someone who has had the virus or is being tested positive for the virus, that we should self-quarantine. But I also feel like that's not being done because there's so many mixed messages. The CDC is saying wear a mask when you go out, but Trump is saying wear a mask when you go out, but I'm not going to do that. So that the people who are younger, who are more, who don't have children, don't necessarily think their parents or grandparents are going to be susceptible of it from them passing it on to them, are still going out and doing gatherings and things like that. And I feel like it's my responsibility to not go around people who are susceptible to it, even though I'm pretty sure I've been in quarantine for a month. I've left like 2 times and went to the store twice and walk around my neighborhood. I'm pretty sure I do not have it, but I don't know for 100% sure. So therefore, I'm not going to go around my grandma, because how would I feel if I was the one that got my grandma sick and she passed on? I would feel horrible.
You would feel pretty bad.
Megan hasn't seen her grandma in like a month either.
I know, I haven't. I'm sorry, you're being all too.
Well, those are some real valid concerns and stuff, and that's good thinking, Kayla.
Well, and here's the thing too. Like, I feel like, and I feel the same way that Trump does about, as a business person, like, this is not going to be good. Like, we can't keep this country closed because we're not going to have any money coming in. And then when we do get back, everybody's losing so much money right now. And Trump, he's like, the stocks were really good. Like, the businesses were going better than they had for a while, right before this happened.
Yeah.
And so, I can see like where he's wanting to get back. I wish though that, and I don't know how he could do this or if anybody could do this, is to like get, in contact with all the governors, have one plan. But then again, people are sicker in other states than we are too. So, but there's a lot of mixed messages. I can see where Trump is biting us a bit, wanting to get back to work because having the stocks down and everything is not good. And I don't understand some of these plans that were made, like as far as the loans that are going out and the unemployment. I mean, I understand we need that, but I just feel like, and I know that Republicans and Democrats are all involved, so you can't have everything the way it's, you've got a little mixture of everything. But, I'm worried about that. But, hopefully, because I know Trump is a businessman too, and that they kind of know what they're doing as far as the money, because we don't want to get back into a depression.
Meg, I am totally on the same page with you, with everything you said, and I have the same concerns, and let me tell you where I'm at with it. This is what I came to. I remembered what happened when Trump took office. Remember how he just knows how to make decisions and make things happen so that there's domino effects in our economy, so things take off. You know what I mean? And that's what happened before this virus hit. Remember how our economy was booming?
Yeah, no, we did. We had a good economy. People were getting jobs, and there was a lot of jobs to be had. And so I'll definitely, I will say that, and I'm hoping that.
And I believe he can pull us back there again once this virus is gone. Once we're able to go back to work, and I would be back to work right now if I could. I'm waiting for, like, every time they announce a new date, I'm like, man, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's interesting. So, like, the crime and stuff, I was kind of thinking about that too, because they say on the news that, that, and I didn't really think about this, the teachers, are watching kids, and different things, and they're the ones that report, like, the bruises and things, and, like, now the teachers can't even be around the kids that really need them. And then, like you were saying, Becca, like, you're home with your family all the time. Obviously, you guys don't beat the crap out of each other, but can you imagine, like, people who, we're not,
whose spouses are abusive, and their only relief in the past was going to work, or having that abusive spouse go to work,
or exactly going to, like getting out for a little bit. And like, even if you're not a violent person, I mean, being on edge, like, with people, I can't imagine, like, with everybody being around everybody all the time, it's got to be kind of, stressful too. And then, even the people, and this is what I was saying about the Michigan government too, like, or governor, like, she was saying, or, like, these different governors and, putting out these different messages, but they can't even go buy plants. And it's like, what's the problem of somebody going and buying a plant? Because that's going to keep you sane while you're sitting here locked in your house. It's not like, like, we need to be mindful of that too, like making sure that people get the things that they need to make themselves feel good too, so that if they are stuck in the house.
Are you talking about marijuana?
No.
We could be. No.
Like, wait, is she talking about weed?
No, she's talking about, like, like gardening. So, like, me personally, I have a garden. I have cucumbers, I have zucchini, I have pumpkins, and me and the kids, we planted all these different carrots and green beans and stuff, so that if we aren't able to get to the store, eventually we'll have our own, limited, but food supply for fresh food. But now they're putting limitations on different states where they're not allowed to buy seeds to start a garden, or different plants to bring into your home, to bring some of that nature into your home to kind of help you feel better. Like, I have a huge lavender bush, a daisy, and some mums in my in my dining room, like in indoor plants or house plants. And then outside we have a huge garden. But now they're limiting seeds, so you can't go to the store and necessarily buy seeds. They're not allowing you to do that now in certain states. So I haven't found that yet here in Arizona, but I also already had all my seeds that I planted this year from previous years of keeping the seeds.
I didn't know they were limiting seats. That is really scary.
It's
Yeah.
in Michigan that I noticed it right now, like, just the start of it. And that's why she's getting so much slack right now on the news, is because she's, like doing all this crazy stuff that sounds insane. But then again, somebody reminded me, well, there's a lot more people that are sick over there. But still, it's like, we're already locked up, basically. I mean, it's hard enough to even get, like what you said, like even water right now, in the form that you want it, and they're gonna say we can't buy plants or walk around, Jace. I don't know. Dictatorship. Here we go. No.
I worry about what they're doing out there in the world while we're all locked in our houses.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think they're stripping away our rights, you guys. I'm really.
That's a good point to make, Becca. Yeah.
I feel like they're stripping away our rights, but for some of us, it's for a good cause at that same time. So I understand why they're doing it, but I do not agree necessarily with it. Does that make sense?
It's never a good time to strip away rights.
Well, not to strip away our rights, but it is for us to stay home. I don't think it's right to limit the food, like,
Yeah, when you say it like that, that makes sense.
Some people, unfortunately, have to be protected from themselves. And so, in order to protect other people, rights are unfortunately taken away, like the ability to travel out of our country. That's a right we had a month ago, but now we don't. Not that I want to go travel outside my country. I barely want to leave my front door. But that is a right they took away.
Yeah.
Although it is for the better good of the nation.
I was supposed to go to a BLAST conference this week for my work, and I was going to be there actually right now, and I couldn't go. And
What was the BLAST conference that you were going to? Do you want to talk about it?
It's like an upward mobility training for my business, and it's kind of like an NFB conference, only it's geared towards merchants, and it's the NFB like form of because there's a branch off of a division in the NFB for merchants, and so it's what they do every year. It's something they do, and I really enjoy them because I feel like they're not as rigorous as NFB conventions, like with everything, and like you get more like, I don't know,
it's more focused.
Yeah, well, it is, but like you don't have to go be somewhere all the time.
So it's kind of less scheduled. So you have a little bit more free time in between to mingle with the other people, where usually you're going from meeting to meeting, and maybe meet up with your friends when you find time.
Right.
Is that okay?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, it's more just like that. They have a trade show there.
Is that does that take place here in Arizona then?
No, it was well, we have one here too that got canceled, but we during these conferences they always have like a huge trade show during one of the days, like where they get Vistar and NAMA and all the different vending and all the different vendors, and just kind of have them show their stuff.
Wow,
where was the destination it was supposed to take place?
Chicago, like at the Lowe's Hotel or something like that.
Yeah, I was supposed to be flying to Wisconsin tomorrow.
What were you doing there, Kayla?
A friend, my VI teacher from elementary school, I was going to go visit her for a week. And I had it all planned out. I had the kids taken care of. I had someone to get them off the bus in the afternoon. I had mornings covered. I was going to freeze meals, so they had meals all week long. And then it got canceled. So I'm kind of disappointed, but the Southwest Airlines refunded my ticket, so I can use it hopefully within the next year. We'll be able to travel again. But I haven't seen her in 10 years. No, longer than that. When I got married was the last time I saw her.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how long ago that was, like 14 years ago?
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's sad that you had to cancel.
I know. I had so many fun plans too. Just joking.
Well, I'm looking forward to the day when we'll be back to normal, where we'll be traveling again and investing in our local businesses and greeting each other in the streets and stuff, so.
Yeah, where you're not like waving from afar. Maybe, I don't know if they're waving back, but I wave to my neighbors at least. I don't know. I can't see if they wave back. They might be no.
I've always been good at waving too, but I can never see people wave back.
Yeah, I always still wave though.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
So have like people in your neighborhood seem to be pretty quiet, or do they seem like they're gathering still, or what do you think? How do you feel about that? Like the people in your direct area?
The other day, like last weekend, I think our neighbors had a pretty big party. I heard a lot of noise.
Yeah, I think the ones behind me had a party this weekend, and I was trying to sleep. And I'm like, man, I can't even get quiet during quarantine.
You know what? That actually happened to me last Thursday night. Because kids aren't in school right now, so it's like summer vacation. So they were out really late, and I was thinking, gosh, I would have loved to have done that as a kid. Like just like be out late on a school night. But they don't have school now, so.
Yeah.
My kids, we have a trampoline, and the people behind us have a trampoline, and then the little girl beside us has like this climby thing she can climb up on. So all the kids climb up on their things in their backyard, and they're playing charades. It was amazing. So social distancing, but playing together at the same time. It worked. It was really cool.
That sounds amazing, Kayla.
So Becca, what do you do? I know you're super busy, or you were beforehand. What are you doing right now?
Oh, I'm making mad progress on my book. And what?
Oh, I just said that's good. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have interrupted you. I'm learning.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on. It's my passion. I told Brandon I can die after I get my book done, and he freaked out.
Yeah, no. No.
But what I meant is, this is my reason for living. When I realized my calling, I'm like, okay, well, this is my calling. Once I get this done, I can rest, So,
wow. I'm excited to read it.
Thank you. Well, we're reading the Audible version of the first book right now, so.
Wow.
Joining me today on Becca's World. I hope you enjoyed our first airing of The Blind View. Thank you, Megan and Kayla, for joining me today and our viewers. Please like, share, and hit the subscribe button. Peace out. Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.